Computer. Perfect. We should be recording. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeanette Laster, and I'm the Executive Director of the Human Rights Education Institute. I would like to welcome everyone to our Martin Luther King Jr. Idaho Human Rights Day activities. The day promises to be full of education, inspiration, and reflection. But before we get started, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge our Indigenous tribes and the land that belongs to them, in which HREI resides upon and continues to flourish in its work and mission. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, the Human Rights Education Institute pays homage to the Indigenous people, the Coeur d'Alene tribe, a people that are still here and bring to light their ancient heritage and the land on which the Institute is located. Furthermore, we recognize and honor the sovereignty of the Coeur d'Alenes and the Indigenous peoples in the territories of Eastern Washington, Northern Idaho, and Western Montana, including the Spokanes, the Kootenai, the Kalispel, Colville Confederated Tribes, and the Kootenai Salish, where we serve, educate, and gather to share the message of celebrating diversity, promoting human rights, and recognizing the value of all humanity. HREI celebrates and honors the culture, heritage, strength, and diversity of Native American peoples and commits to sharing their true histories and unique cultures. HREI recognizes the struggles faced by Indigenous peoples and commit to challenging anti-Indigenous oppression. We acknowledge the unjust treatment of Indigenous peoples, both historically and presently. Indigenous peoples and communities who are organizing for justice have our support and solidarity. Martin Luther King Jr.'s emphasis on nonviolence and service to his beloved community garnered the civil rights leader worldwide recognition. In 1964, at 35 years old, King became the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize. In his historic I Have a Dream speech, Dr. King begins with a critical examination of how little we have succeeded in the efforts of equality for the Black man. He proclaims, 50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who have been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later. Today, now more than 150 years later, there is still a dream, one that has been fueled with uprising due to the recent injustices against Black and Indigenous people of color. Yet there remains hope when Dr. King states, now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for a nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. At the height of the BLM movement this past spring, the Human Rights Education Institute made a commitment to its communities, especially those where marginalized groups are being unfairly overlooked for needed services and supports. We have kept that promise through our important education and awareness work, with a strong voice against injustice and racism, and consistently supporting a counterbalance message of love and compassion. I would like to take a moment to recommit ourselves to this promise. It reads, in order to have a world that is just for all, We must come together as individuals, as organizations and businesses, and as community leaders to be an active part of the change. We must take this moment to examine personal biases and relationships and educate and equip ourselves to be vigilant in a unified course of action. This will ensure equitable communities. Therefore, the Human Rights Education Institute makes the following commitments. We are committed to remembering and reflecting on historical and recent human rights tragedies while developing supports and education so that they may never occur again in the future. We are committed to fighting for equality for all, especially those most harmed by a system that historically dehumanizes people of color. We are committed to continuing to investigate our own privilege so that we can embed racial equity into our work. We are committed to always speak the language of love, unity, and empathy because systemic racism silences the voices of so many. We will uplift these voices to be amplified, and we will listen intently with love and compassion to seek understanding, for only then can change occur. We are committed to hold open the HREI space for inclusive, safe conversations that are building blocks of new systems and create a culture that values justice and humility for everyone. As leaders in our community, we are committed to hold ourselves accountable to help create the infrastructure to reduce poverty, increase access to resources, to healthcare and education, and provide for restorative justice for underserved people while working to change the social and economic system that was designed to perpetuate oppression. We are committed to ensuring that our law enforcement entities are engaged in cultural humility training and implementing racial equity practices in all of their work. We are committed to providing educational opportunities that will increase understanding in our communities and reduce racial prejudice. We believe that educators have a key role to play in life-saving anti-racism work. Therefore, HREI is committed to encouraging other members of the academic and scholastic system to join us in collaborative advocacy of these commitments. We are explicit in these commitments and oppose any form of racism, discrimination, violence, or hateful acts in our communities that seek to destroy our mission and vision and that of the work in which we engage. In an interview last year on Face the Nation, Condoleezza Rice, former United States Secretary of State, shares, "The focus on education is a way to break through the barriers of prejudice. Education is not a shield against prejudice, but it gives people a fighting chance." In Dr. King's famous speech, he said, "We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise. Again and again, we must rise to majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust for all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. And they have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone, and as we walk, we must make the pledge that we will always march ahead. We cannot turn back." So we are gathered here today to continue to march ahead. We begin this walk in the spirit of achieving freedom through an all-day lineup of special opportunities, presentations, and interactions centered on volunteerism, service, and community building. We will focus on education and engage in listening, where we may seek understanding, speak our truth, and sometimes be held in discomfort in order to gain acceptance and experience growing in peace together. And finally, we will join our human rights partners across the state to enjoy a musical celebration demonstrating how love, justice, respect, equality, kindness, and compassion is everywhere. Once again, in the words of Dr. King, he reminds us that hatred confuses life, love harmonizes it. Hatred darkens life, love illuminates it. Thank you for being a part of today. And now I will hand it over to Kathy Gurko, our HREI Community and Resource Engagement VISTA, who will introduce the volunteer outreach part of our program.
Good morning. I wanted to mention that Dr. King was also a big supporter of Indigenous tribes. And recently I read a post on Facebook from Powwows where Chief Lane gave him honorable mention because of all the support he gave to the Indigenous tribes, which I didn't know. So I will be sharing my screen and open my presentation. So if you'll just give me a moment. Oops, wrong one. There you go. Okay, can you see it? I didn't do share screen yet.
Not yet, Kathy. Try it again.
Okay. I have to exit the minimize video. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Oh, we have a new person. Andrea, nice to see you. Amanda, I mean. Sorry. How are you doing? Anyway, I'm an AmeriCorps VISTA with the Human Rights Education Institute, and I'm very honored to be working as an AmeriCorps VISTA. Let me see, there we go. And as Jeanette's background shows you as well, this is where we live, on Fort Grounds Drive across from the carousel. This is a 1904 railroad battery station. Now, because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy as a civil rights leader, Congress agreed 25 years ago that MLK Day would be an official day of service, that the Corporation for National and Community Service, CNCS, which AmeriCorps works under, embraced and promotes as a day on, not a day off. This is a day of service. It's not just a holiday. And it was encouraged that people would get out and volunteer for any kinds of organizations. In all 50 states, MLK Day is it's grown and grown over the years to where hundreds of thousands of people volunteer every day. We're a little limited now with the pandemic. That's why we're doing this virtually. Usually we have a lot of events going on of active volunteerism rather than, well, anyway, you know what the pandemic has done with us. The values and the objectives of the AmeriCorps VISTA program and MLK Day of Service are in keeping with the mission and vision of the Human Rights Education Institute. And as Jeanette was saying, it's only through education we can overcome fear that leads to curiosity and acceptance. So with encouragement and respect, humans can thrive. Our volunteers are the heart of our organization. They're the heart of any nonprofit, as you well know. They carry out all the activities needed to allow our organization to thrive. Working together, they provide the best service and educational experiences possible to our community and visitors to forward our mission through the programs that provide human rights education and cultural events for schools, visitors, community members, and businesses, curriculum review of our materials and resources so we can remain abreast of world changes, education and resources for our community on contemporary topics within our mission, and the Love Lives Here CDA campaign and the newly formed Human Rights Consortium are both composed of community volunteers. And as also Jeanette was saying, our HREI provides a safe space where citizens can share ideas in how to better navigate the rough terrain that we're going through right now with social justice changes, which we're trying to help people get out of poverty. And this is what Martin Luther King was about. And the only way we can do that is through education. We have our website, hrei.org, which gives us a more complete assessment of the jobs that we have available and the volunteer positions in our organization. Our volunteers are composed of the board of directors, executive directorship, committees, administrative personnel, program leaders. We have general volunteers. So there are many jobs that people can do to forward our mission. Volunteers are the heart of our organization, and we would not be operational without them. They come from all walks of life, educators and retired educators, students, business and professional people, AmeriCorps VISTA. In fact, right now, there are 2 positions open. I will be leaving in the middle of March. So a volunteer coordinator / community engagement, VISTA is up there for possibilities if people would like to invest in a year of service, which I highly recommend. We also have the HERO program that is higher education resource opportunities. We've been a little limited on that this year because of the COVID. Most of our referrals come from the schools and education system, and we all know what has happened to that this year. But we are going to, HREI is going to institute that position again, and it's up to be fulfilled, where we can help at-risk students and pair them with mentors from the community so that they can figure out their next step. We also have partner organizations that offer their expertise in areas such as art history, social justice, art as the need arises. And I think Britt is probably one of our advisors on the history portion. And these are some of our dedicated volunteers. December 10th is Human Rights Day. In 2019, we had a very wonderful gathering to celebrate. Of course, that was not possible this year, but that's the birthday of the Human Rights Education Institute. On the left is Jason Tapani, and he was a Heritage Health fundraiser. We have a volunteer who came in to read with our children. On the right is Chris Brooks. She is our intern coordinator. We also have interns in our program, and students can come if they have to fulfill requirements from their college or high school, and Chris will work with them. We also have a work study program, which was just instituted, that is available. And here's our crew. Jeanette and Stephanie was with us, Alcy and Sean from Love Lives Here. And the one in the middle is the Human Rights, or the Women's March that was last January, sorry. And Love Lives Here, which is one of our, under our umbrella. as our, it used to be our partner, but they work with us now. And this is Ian, one of our volunteers, who was also out there at the golf tournament in Avondale. So where do we go from here? Jeanette just instituted the slogan, "We are everywhere in harmony," that was generated from the Wasmuth Center. And tonight we're going to have a concert from there, which I'm sure she'll tell you about, which we're working very closely with them. And Father Wasmuth used to be a priest here in Coeur d'Alene, and he now works in Boise at the Anne Frank Museum. So, are there any questions that you would like to ask about? Okay, I guess that was pretty complete, and I guess we'll move on to Britt. Thank you.
I guess it helps if I unmute myself for everyone to hear me. So I am Brent Thurman, the Executive Director for the Museum of North Idaho, and I am also going to attempt to share my screen. There we go. Can everyone see the presentation and hear me clearly? Perfect. So like I said, my name is Brent Thurman. I'm the new Executive Director for the Museum of North Idaho. I've been in this position for about a little under 3 months now, so still pretty fresh, but very excited to be here, especially presenting at this event today. So the Museum of North Idaho is located downtown. We are right next to the Human Rights Education Institute on Northwest Boulevard. And our mission is to inspire, preserve, and share the history of North Idaho. And we do that in a multitude of ways. We are not just a museum, although we do have an exhibition gallery with an annual rotating featured exhibit. We do have a gift shop featuring locally made goods in Idaho. We do history tours, walking tours of Fort Sherman, as well as downtown Coeur d'Alene. We have multiple historic properties. We also, this is one that most people don't know about the museum, we also have a publishing company, as well as a research library. Our research library has about 36,000 digitized photos that tell the story of Coeur d'Alene's history. Our research library is open year-round, just by appointment in the off-season. The museum is open from April 1st to October 31st, as we don't have heat in our exhibition gallery, so we're closed during the winter months, but we're still here in our admin offices, and the research library is still open for individuals that want to do personal projects or just want to take a look through our photos. So like I said, we do have a publication or a publishing company, the Museum of North Idaho Press. It is one of the largest regional history publishers. We have over 25 publications, and we sell them in our gift shop. We sell them multiple locations across the region, various stores, and we do also sell them online through Amazon and the museum's own bookstore. Our two historic properties that we have are the Fort Sherman Chapel, right across from Boswell Hall on the North Idaho College campus, as well as the Big Hank Cabin, which also currently sits on the North Idaho College campus. The Fort Sherman Chapel is 140 years old and was originally used for multiple purposes as a city hall kind of gathering space, as a church, as a school, And now we use it for interpretive purposes. We have school kids that come in and get to learn about 140 years ago through use of this building. And we also use it for event rentals. So individuals who are interested in getting married can reserve the chapel. Nonprofit groups who would like to have meetings can reserve the chapel for that as well. So it's a very utilized and loved property still. And then our big Hank cabin, although the interior is not open to the public yet, the exterior has some interpretive elements around it and is a pretty cool building. So that kind of takes us where we are currently. We are in the process of designing a new museum that's going to be located at the base of Tubbs Hill in the historic J.C. White House that we moved from its original location on Sherman Avenue, put it on the back of a truck and moved it down to its new home right next to City Hall. And this new museum is going to allow us to be open year-round, have a lot more partnerships and a lot more programming and opportunities that'll be available to the community to inspire learning for our region's history. So we're about 2 to 3 years out still for this building. It can't come soon enough. We're all pretty excited. And so figured I would show you all just a really brief overview of what that new building is going to look like. I get a little excited about it, so I love sharing this overview that we have. So this is the front entrance coming off of the Centennial Trail. Inside the historic J.C. White House, we'll have our gift shop and museum lobby. On the second floor is going to be our newly expanded research library with computer stations for easier access to our online collections. And then completely underground, oh, there's my internet for you. Completely underground is going to be our exhibition hall, our archives, and our temporary exhibit hall. So one thing that we're really trying to build into this new museum is the idea of inclusion. So no matter what your background is, no matter what your ability level is, your age, you'll be able to have a really engaging and rewarding experience at the museum. So we're building that accessibility into the design of this from the ground up. And if I could find my cursor, we will pause here. And now I need to get back to my presentation. There we are. So one thing that we're pretty excited about is our new exhibits for this museum. We're going to have everything themed around the concept of water, since this area has a system of lakes, rivers, and an aquifer that define the past, present, and future history of our region. One thing we're really looking forward to is working with the Coeur d'Alene tribe to be a platform for their voice. They are so integral to this area, and they will be present in multiple different components of our interpretive plan. We're also going to be a multi-sensory experience. So no longer are we going to have just the kind of flat displays for people to come in, read, see an image, look at an artifact and move along, but these really engaging and interactive experiences. So people from all backgrounds, all levels will be able to have a great experience at the museum. We do have a multitude of volunteer opportunities, like many of the other organizations in Coeur d'Alene. We are very reliant upon volunteer help. We have a very small paid staff, just one full-time, which is myself, and then 3 part-time employees. So we really do rely on volunteer help to be able to fulfill our mission. One of our biggest needs is with guest services when the museum is open to the public, greeting guests, answering questions, selling admission, gift shop merchandise, and then memberships. We are going to be open 7 days a week between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So we're going to have a great need for volunteers for guest services to fill those roles. Like I said, we do have 36,000 digitized photos in our collection. And so that takes a lot of work to get those photos scanned, get them cataloged, and get research done into the information for each photo. So we're always looking for good volunteers that can be able to do that. We are starting to do more special events. We just recently had a socially distant Santa event at the Fort Sherman Chapel in December, and looking to make that an annual event. We're also going to have movies in the park this summer, and presence at community gatherings like Art on the Green. And so these special events, we're really going to need volunteer work to help us with the various activities. And as I was mentioning before, we do have the Fort Sherman Chapel that we use for weddings and events. Because that is a historic property, we do have to supervise the building, make sure that it's being cared for while it is rented. So volunteers that can help us with that supervision. Always looking for special skills, specifically IT support, marketing and social media, maintenance, things along those lines. So people that have a very specific skill set that are looking to volunteer just on an occasional basis, that would be a very, very valuable position for us. And always administrative and office. We send out a quarterly newsletter to about 800 individuals. It's pretty time consuming to get those sent out, but when we have many hands divvying up the work, it actually is quite a fun process. Our phones ring constantly. Very helpful to have someone that can even just come in and answer phones, monitor our main email account, and then filing and organizing things along those lines. So we do also have research opportunities as well. There's so much about the history of this area that we still haven't been able to unearth because the information is just so vast. So people that are looking to do research projects really to kind of help fill the archives for the museum, we'd love to have you on board and help us with that. So anyone who is interested in volunteering can contact me. You can go on our website, museumni.org, and fill out one of our volunteer application forms. This kind of gives us a little bit of an idea of your background and what your interests are, so we can find a suitable volunteer role for you. You can call me at 664-3448. Or you can email me. It's my first initial and last name, bthurman@museumni.org. Any questions that I can answer for anybody? Perfect. We can move along the line.
Awesome. I am next. My name is Amanda. I am the director of our empowerment services at Safe Passage. I had a great presentation set up, but my internet is a little bit crazy. So let me see if I can get it going. You know how technical difficulties go. Safe Passage is the local domestic violence and sexual assault agency. So we're community-based. We work with anybody experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, human trafficking, stalking. We are nonprofit, so we are free and confidential, which is nice. All of our services are free of access. When we break it down, our services, we break them down into kind of 3 groups. Our first group is going to be safety. So that's going to be all of our services out of our main office. So we work with a lot of people that call in and need advice, family, friends, anybody kind of within that element that would need any kind of support with somebody that may or may not be experiencing domestic violence. Let me see, I just got my internet back. So let's see if I can pull up that presentation. What else could go wrong during this time? Nobody knows. Just doesn't like me. Oh, here we go. See if I can share it with y'all. Okay, share my screen. All right, can y'all see that? Yep, okay, cool. So we are as we talked about, this is kind of who we work with, and we work with all people, anybody who's experienced any of these things. So when we talk about our safety services, this bold number here is our 24/7 hotline that anybody can call into. A lot of times we get phone calls that maybe somebody just has a question or they're looking for the right kind of avenue to go. A lot of times over the phone, it's a lot of safety planning with people within relationships that might not be healthy. A lot of questions are asked. This is the main lifeline for people to reach us that need support. We do have an advocate at the court system. So anybody accessing the court that has anything to do with domestic violence, sexual assault, anything we kind of work with, we have advocates that go there. We help them navigate the system. We can help fill out protection orders, kind of get people prepared of what that looks like within the court system, and make it a little less scary when they have to go into court. Help be a liaison within the court system of what looks like next, where to go, and be able to be there with them so that the person feels a little bit safer within that system. We have a 24/7 hospital response. So at any point, if somebody goes to Kootenai Health for sexual assault or domestic violence, we have advocates available at all times. And our job there is to make sure that the survivor has somebody that they can ask questions to. We have clothes there for victims. We have somebody that can fill out crime victims compensation, so they won't have to pay for that exam. If they want to report to law enforcement, they're able to do that. We can sit through that exam or that conversation as well, making sure that victims feel safe and they know kind of what's going on. A big part of that is that they have somewhere safe to go after that. And then we do have our safe shelter. So we have a confidential shelter in Coeur d'Alene. It is confidential, so I can't tell you where it is, but it is staffed 24/7. We have advocates there that can help anybody that needs to access a safe place to stay. It is like a regular house. We have food, clothes, toiletries, anything somebody would need if they were to uproot and need to leave as quick as possible. We are able to take anybody like over the age of 18. We can't take children by themselves, but any parent that is there. We do shelter moms right now within our shelter, but if men or other people need support, we have other places for them to shelter. We also do take pets and any kind of what their needs might meet, and then setting them up for success of what safety looks like for them when they leave our shelter. Our next kind of bucket that we see, we have our Resiliency Bucket. So this is going to be housing advocacy. So we have a couple advocates that kind of know their way around Section 8 housing, how to get on low-income lists, what the next plans are for victims that come through our agency. We do offer counseling as well, which is free, which is nice. That's a big barrier for people. Counseling can be kind of expensive, so we're able to provide counselors for people. Right now, our counselors are pretty slim with in person, but we are doing a lot of phone counseling. We do offer a class for women. It's going to start later. They're going to learn life skills. We kind of put that on hold during the pandemic, but that'll be starting up soon. We call it a ladies' night. People can come together and do crafts and meet other people within our community. It's kind of more of a healing service there too. We have our Children's Advocacy Center. So this is going to be if a child discloses any physical or sexual abuse. It's reported to law enforcement or health and welfare. They're going to call our Children's Advocacy Center, and over there we have a specially trained forensic interviewer that'll sit down with the child in a safe environment. It's recorded. Usually law enforcement's there to help watch over that and make sure they get everything they need. And the whole purpose of that is so this child would only have to tell their story one time. We have a family advocate there as well, so the non-offending caregiver will be there. And they'll make sure that whatever resources that they need, they will have all that before they leave. Our last bucket is the one that I oversee, and that's going to be our empowerment bucket. So we're our outreach and education. We do teen presentations within the 5 northern counties. We go all the way up to Bonners. We've been down to Lakeside and Plummer, and we talk to teens about what healthy relationships look like, what teen dating violence looks like, how to stay safe online with a partner. We make sure that they have access to advocates if they or somebody that they know needs support during or after we're there. We have an advocate at Coeur d'Alene High School, so students, faculty, and staff can go reach out to her if they need any type of support there. And we also have an advocate at North Idaho College. So again, that's going to be open to students, faculty, and staff. Anybody that might need a confidential advocate, or there's something going on that they want to talk to somebody about. We just started a resiliency group for teens. So it's going to be a sexual assault resiliency group. So this is going to be a lot of healing services. It's a 12-week kind of group where teens can come together and be able to talk about anything, have some coping mechanisms. So it's a cool program that we just launched within Coeur d'Alene. We have a bystander intervention training. So this is going to look like anywhere from high school, community, college. We're able to give people tangible tools if somebody or they see something that doesn't look right. So this is going to be something that they can do and to intervene to make sure that they have the tools they need, that if something you're out in your life and it just doesn't look like something good is happening, they'll have tools to be able to intervene in a safe way and have resources that they are able to do that and be confident in making sure that everybody's safe in our community. We have a number of different things. So we are always looking for volunteers for our sexual assault calendar. This is just, you're able to pick your days. We are able to respond to the hospital. It's going to be a 24/7 service. We're always looking for volunteers there. We have a couple big different events that we do every year. And whatever kind of somebody's specialty is, we would be able to, if they want to help out, we would love to do that. We have a couple open positions too. So if somebody's looking to work here, we have shelter staff that is always looking to get filled there. And you can find that on our website. This is safepassageid.org. There's volunteer opportunities that you can fill in a volunteer sheet. Our 24/7 line is the 9303 number. We also, especially during the pandemic, we wanted to launch something where people would be able to contact us if they couldn't call us. So we have a text line that is going to be answered 24/7. And we have an email that somebody can reach out to us if they need our services. So that if they can't make that phone call and it's not safe for them, they can email us. We have an Instagram that is specific for teens, and we have another Instagram that is specific for everybody. So you can follow us there. And then we have a Facebook that you can follow us. And I would say if you can't volunteer, that's totally fine. If you can't donate, that's totally fine. But sharing our information, you never know who within your social media group or who within your social influence circle needs this information or this support. Yeah, I think that's it from us. I think Jessica's next.
Well, hello, my name is Jessica Maheren, and I am an outreach coordinator with the North Idaho Pride Alliance. It's been a very busy week for us. So what I'm going to do is just kind of take you a tour on our website and talk about some of the work that we do and opportunities that we have to get involved. So the North Idaho Pride Alliance is an organization of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer/questioning people, allies, and community groups working together to create a more inclusive North Idaho. We accomplish this through networking. We build intentional relationships in the community, educating. We inform the community about LGBT issues and the lived experience of LGBT people and allies, and advocating, creating a cross-movement culture for advancing LGBT equality. So we are, I would say through and through, are a grassroots organization. This started in, I would say 2016, 2017. I know that Julie Stratton, she was the co-founder of the organization. There was a vigil, I believe, that was with the Pulse nightclub shooting. So there was a mobilization of people, to respond to that event. So from there, I know that there was originally a Parents and Friends PFLAG that also was formed, which is an excellent organization. So eventually it definitely morphed into the North Idaho Pride Alliance and with this mission. And one of the primary things that the North Idaho Pride Alliance is known for is their annual Pride in the Park. And that's where we bring all the different partners and that we have together at City Park. They have live music, they have food, they have, it's a beautiful event, and that happens normally every year. COVID, obviously, things looked a little different last year. We launched a CDA for Pride campaign, which was virtual, but also incorporated some in-person events and a great merchandise line with our new CDA for Pride logo. Some other things that we had done is that we partnered with the Lake City Playhouse for a Fun Home Theater Night, and this was a beautiful play, Tony Award winning play that definitely kind of explains kind of the nuances of being in a family with someone coming out in the complexities. And so a lot of our partners came to that. So we do just lots of different things. We do socials as well. So occasionally we will put together opportunities for people to come together for an inclusive space and just to have fun. We did that recently with a virtual event that was called the Rainbow Detective Squad, and it was a really fun mystery game, or our big gay trivia night. So here's some pictures of some of the things that we do. Sometimes we'll just pop up. We will get involved in an event, we'll set up a table, set up our resources, and talk with people about things that are available in the community for them to take advantage of. So I'm going to show you some things on our website that we are working on. Some people might know about this. This just happened. This is an example of us rapid response and how to get involved. There was the incident, unfortunately, that was in the paper. And then there was a massive response by the community in a positive way. And there was a CDA rally for LGBTQ youth that took place over on the weekend. And this is an example of what we want to do is we want to support people in their organizing in the community. We had a young woman, Erin Olson, who approached us, wanted to hold a demonstration. She had grown up in North Idaho as a lesbian and definitely understood some of the complexities. She helped arrange a fantastic lineup of speakers, and it was really a successful event. But beyond that, some of the other advocacy that people did in our network is they wrote letters to the editor, they wrote op-eds, and we are here to support that type of action in our community whenever there is an opportunity to advocate. This is a big project that we are working on, which is affirming LGBTQ resources. We've always had this on our website, but we have been working diligently to expand it, to improve it, and to do more outreach to inform people about resources that there are. We currently are bringing on 2 work study students from North Idaho College, which is wonderful, where they are specializing in this, but we have many volunteers who have taken on roles on specific categories. So one that we've been working on a lot this last couple weeks because it's important is resources for LGBTQ youth. And we are, for instance, the Rainbow Squad, which is with the Community Library Network, they have a GSA club, And that's for really teens. I know that they start as young as 11 there to 18. This is just a really great social opportunity. So this is a lot what we are doing is identifying resources in the community, developing relationships, and referring people to these opportunities. So these are examples of some of the GSA clubs that we do have available. The North Idaho College GSA Club, they're one of our strong collaborators. And pretty much any event that they do, we will make sure to promote it. And in here, you'll find all sorts of links to different things, along with educational materials. So that's also important as well, is that if someone wants to start a GSA club, there is resources there available to help someone informing that. And if you don't know what GSAs are, those are, gender and sexuality alliances, or sometimes known as gay straight alliances. And they are student-led. They take place, in educational settings, or perhaps, doesn't have to be, like with the library. And this is where students can get involved, and they can organize their own events and take action within their own, communities. So we are certainly on the lookout for volunteers that will help us with some of this work. Some of the things that we'll be working on is trying to list more businesses that we know that are inclusive spaces. Or healthcare resources is also huge. We've been doing a lot with our mental health care resources and finding those therapists, but this is definitely a section where we want to know even more of. And so we do the research, we find out, who does what, and work with other organizations that really specialize in healthcare, and such as Heritage Health. We participate in the LGBTQ Advisory Council that Heritage Health has spearheaded. This is really important. If there is any instance, another great way to just be involved is that if there is ever an incident that does occur, what can you do if you are bullied or attacked? I think this is a pretty excellent resource that will help direct people, filing a complaint with the ACLU of Idaho, connects with our local task force, human rights task force, connections with even city council members that we have developed relationships with. And Safe Passage of North Idaho is a very valued partner of ours. And Amanda, I'm so excited, is joining our board of directors. So this is what we are. We are more about developing relationships, interconnections. We're more of a free kind of, a network of people, more so than a very kind of concrete organization. So HREI is one of our most valued partners. So this is how we work together and collaborate. We also are very collaborative with the other Pride organizations that are in our region, and do everything we can to help promote a culture of inclusion here in North Idaho. So if you are interested in getting involved, there is right now, we have received a lot of interest as of lately, which is exciting. So there's going to be a couple of upcoming opportunities. One is that we will be soon be forming our Rainbow Squad, which is the organizing committee for Pride Month. This year, I don't quite know how it's going to look like. I don't foresee us trying to do like a virtual event like we did last year, but it will be in that moment, in the beginning of June, where we may have to take some safety precautions, hopefully outdoors, maybe just add more. So we will need a group of people that are involved in that event, and they might be doing things like helping with marketing. They might be helping with setting up food vendors. They might be setting up partner outreach. They could be doing decorations. They could be coming up with new ideas, setting up resources, that we'll be able to distribute out. So partners will be able to hopefully be involved with this. This is always a key event to include our partners. Another thing that we will be doing soon is establishing a community builders committee. And the community builders are people where if things arise, let's say that we have a partner that invites us to an event, that they may come to that event as a North Idaho Pride Alliance representative, help develop that relationship. They could be writing letters to the editor, perhaps. They could be working within their own networks to refer people to resources that are available in the community. They could be identifying opportunities that we should be involved with and are aware of. So the hope is that the Community Builders Committee would meet on perhaps a monthly basis. So stay tuned for opportunities with that. And the community builders also would be responsible for organizing occasional social opportunities. Another way that people can volunteer is through our blog and by submitting short articles. So here there's Submit to NYPA. And we recently worked with a young person who developed a wonderful article about video games for teens and tweens that are inclusive. So really, whatever someone's expertise is, that we would love to be able to work with them, or if they just want to research and learn more. So here someone could learn about things that we're looking for. It could be someone's personal stories, it could be queer art, it could be LGBTQ educational content. Someone can pitch to us and they can either submit through here or they can just send us an email at the nipridealliance.com. And when we have some sort of content, what we like to do is we like to share it, not just in our blog, but then put it on our social media and our newsletter. So a lot of our volunteers, they help with media work. So either they're taking photos, when we are having an event and helping post it on Instagram and Facebook, or they're helping write little articles or creating content. And I think that's pretty much all that I have. I definitely recommend, if anyone wants to get involved with the Pride Alliance, is contact us through the website. I will personally receive it, and we will work on perhaps setting up a one-on-one interview and see how we can best incorporate you and your talents.
Kathy, who's next on our list?
Love lives here, maybe?
I think so. I think you're up, Sean.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean Keenan. I'm a co-founder of Love Lives Here Coeur d'Alene. Very pleased to be here, so thank you for Jeanette for inviting us. Like Jessica, I think what I'll do here is kind of give you guys a tour of our website, and then I'll kind of do a deeper dive into our volunteer opportunities. So give me a second to share. See if I can do this. Everybody see my screen now?
I can.
Nice. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Okay, so Love Lives Here, Coeur d'Alene. If you're not familiar, we started in the fall of 2019. Really the catalyst that started our organization was that this community has been experiencing some increased white nationalist and white supremacy activity. We really wanted to head that off and start building a culture here that is inclusive. And so we've brainstormed this idea based off of another organization in Montana that has done something similar. And so we thought this would be a really great opportunity for here in Coeur d'Alene. So Love Lives Here. Let me just drop into our mission statement so you guys can see that. Essentially, our mission statement is that Love Lives Here Coeur d'Alene seeks to engage and educate our community in upholding and protecting the civil and human rights of all individuals, regardless of their race, creed, religion, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, or immigrant status. We encourage our community to spread love, kindness, and respect, and to provide unity, inclusivity, and equity to all Idahoans. We empower individuals and businesses to actively and proudly share that all are welcome here in our community. So what we have done is we are trying to connect businesses and communities together to really empower themselves and also embolden themselves to be able to stand together around this particular cause. We've had a history here of some white supremacist activity, and we've kind of been really trying to turn the page for the last 20 years here and change our image in the world. So we were hoping to bolster that. And what we've done is we've signed up over 150 businesses to join our campaign now, and we're expanding all the time. COVID has been kind of a hindrance to some of our activities, but we're doing our best to navigate and be nimble in this time. So one of the things you'll see here is that we have a declaration, and let me pull that up for you. Maybe. Here it is. Okay, so our declaration letter is once you've signed on to our campaign as a business or organization, you are signing on to our declaration letter. And basically our declaration letter, it was summarized basically by our mission statement that I just formally read. But you can see here that we expand on some of these ideas and really try to include all of our include all of our community members here and make sure that we understand that exactly what I said earlier, all are welcome here in Coeur d'Alene. By signing on to this declaration, each business will receive a copy of this declaration that they can hang proudly in their business. They also receive one of these lovely stickers that we have printed off. Our stickers are 6 inches, and they can also post that proudly on their door or window front. And then we also have a rapid response guide, which we provide them in case there is an incident in or around their business. They know how to respond to it appropriately. One of the things I'd like to also let you know about is that we have a reporting area. So if you do happen to see an incident or experience an incident yourself in our community, we would like you to come to our reporting page and be able to tell us about that incident. This is a really great tool for our community, and we're hoping to get more and more people jumping on here. So, it doesn't have to be a specific human rights thing. It could be, a domestic violence thing, it could be, just any sort of experience you have, like you received a postcard. That's been happening in our community lately, with people sending out, racist postcards or hateful postcards to folks, or anything that you feel may be offensive. We're looking forward to hearing from the community so that we can, one, track internally as to what's going on and help you find ways to report it to the appropriate authorities as well. So this is a tool that, like I said, we'd like to have you guys promote so that more and more people are utilizing this form. We have seen an uptick in this use of this form recently. And what we do is, we leave it up to the person who is reporting the incident as to what actions they would like us to take. Responding back to them, thanking them is always what we do. But if they want us to take further action or assist them in the process any further, we are open to doing that as well. Okay, so we have a couple campaigns that we're working on right now. What we do is we have a 1-for-1 campaign right now with our businesses to help us, and we are 100% a volunteer, and so we are always looking for opportunities to partner with businesses or individuals who want to help us generate the finances needed to promote our campaign. I'm not sure what just happened. I think I popped off the wrong screen here. Back on the incident report. Hold on one second. There we go. What's really cool about our Share the Love campaign is that you can actually customize the stickers. So you can customize a little bit about the design. You can customize a little bit about the coloration of each of these stickers. So let me scroll down here so you can see an example. You can see a couple of the designs and colors that we have kind of pre-populated, but there is a little bit of flexibility depending on how you would like these displayed. So the idea is that you pay for one, and we, in exchange, get one for the Love Lives Here campaign to promote another business or organization. Okay, so let's get into our volunteer opportunities. So right now, our main focus is we're working on a campaign with the Civic Engagement Alliance, and thanks Jessica for partnering with us on this opportunity to spread some kindness in our community. We feel like there is quite a few folks who are feeling a little down during these times. It's been a rough 2020 for a lot of folks. So we're hoping to spread a little love and a little kindness out there in the community through a kindness card opportunity. So essentially, we have, we've got our sponsors, I think, that we're going to be able to take at this time. But what we're trying to do is gather up some more volunteers who are willing to fill out the kindness cards and help us deliver them out into the community. We feel like this is a really great thing to be able to, one, get some volunteers to engage in our community, but also bring some smiles out there to the folks who might be in a vulnerable situation. We have lots of folks who have been affected heavily through this COVID. They haven't been able to have any human contact or any love. We have healthcare workers who are, working their tails off to make sure people stay alive and stay safe. There's all kinds of opportunities to get these cards out. I think last I checked, we're at about, we have about enough money to get out about 3,000 cards in our community. So I think this could be an opportunity for us to do other campaigns like this in the future. So we're excited to get this off the ground. If you want to volunteer for our campaign for this kindness cards, you can come to the HREI and sign up. You can also go to our contact page, which I'll bring up here in just a second.
Okay, if I chime in really quick, Sean, and I apologize.
Yeah, go for it.
Just an update. So we did actually get we got 125 volunteers who signed up to do kindness cards, and that volunteer form has closed. So we are going to be distributing kits to volunteers who signed up. This will happen on the 21st of this week. And then volunteers will be working from home with their families. Classrooms are doing it. And we are sending these cards to various organizations in the community that either employ, house, or serve those who we wanted to reach. But the volunteer opportunities that will be coming up is that we will need help once the cards are returned, that we will be doing these nice little trips to places, and we'll need volunteers to help distribute those cards once we receive them back from volunteers.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, so continuing on, if you want to join our campaign and help us spread the love around Coeur d'Alene, you can come to our contact page here and fill out basic information. And then one of our volunteers will reach back out to you and collect your information and find out where your best skill set is to plug you into our opportunities. Some opportunities we have beyond just joining in with the kindness card operation, we have business contact volunteers. So right now it's been rather challenging to do in-person contact like we would normally do. So we're trying to work out opportunities where we can set appointments and social distance with business owners and stuff like that in order to actually sign them onto our campaigns. We're also working on a digital opportunity on our website, so that'll be coming out soon. So if you or anybody else in your circles know people who might be willing to contact businesses to help join our campaign, feel free to direct them to our contact page to get them involved. We have over 150 businesses and organizations that have already signed on. We're hoping to keep pushing that number up. Other things that we'll need as COVID subsides, hopefully by midsummer here, we will be engaging in more events again, in-person events. So again, we'll be needing volunteers for our events to set up, tear down, be at the event, and help promote our kindness campaigns. Lastly, what can you do now? Spreading kindness right now is really, really important. I think we're experiencing a lot of stresses in our lives from a lot of different angles. So we have a really strong social media page. It would be great if you guys could go and help share the love on our page by liking and following and reposting some of our content. We have a strong page on Facebook and social and Instagram. And then of course, word of mouth. If you know any businesses that would like to sign on to our campaign, feel free to contact us through our contact form, and we will set up an appointment to reach out to them. Any questions at this time? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
So thank you everyone for being here today. As I mentioned, we will be setting this up on our YouTube channel and sending out the link via our social media platforms, and we'll tag all of you so that you can also share the communications. Hopefully we'll get some draw of some volunteers that are interested in working with you as our partners. And we appreciate you so much for getting up this morning and kicking off our celebration of activities. Jessica, I'm wondering if you would take a brief moment just to describe our next activity of the day, which is our community conversation.
Yeah, so we are hosting a community conversation on nonviolence and community action. These is going to be an open dialogue type of conversation that will be in small groups, and there are questions that are based on the 6 principles of nonviolence. So we'll be kind of exploring that through the lens of our own, experiences and perspectives, and really trying to think about the local on how can we use nonviolent methods to respond to human rights issues, perhaps even in our own community. So we hope we have a good group so far coming. It's free. We welcome you to come. You can register. So if you go to the Human Rights Education Institute's Facebook or Civic Engagement Alliance, you'll see the event posted. And you can register. You do have to register for Zoom, and you'll be ready to go. It starts at 11:30 and goes till 1 p.m. Now, it is broken up into 2 sessions. So if someone cannot attend the entire time, they are welcome to hop in at around 12:20, I would say, to 12:30.
Okay, let's go out there and make it a great day. Thank you.